Hey, hey, pop the trunk, I open up, I saw my soul good.
Because A, it's not your land. B, you mentioned Jerusalem.
You can't tell me that, please. Don't say that.
When it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, I think I'm mostly emotionally sad.
I think it's not fair that, a country that is peaceful be in a situation where we have to be threatened.
Being an Arab girl living inside of the Israeli state, it's pretty hard for me to find exactly who I am.
We're the Palestinians. We still live under occupation, so we have no power.
I believe that every person, Jew, Christian, Muslim, should be full equal citizens under Israeli sovereignty.
We need just to end this conflict between us because we don't need the other generations to live the life that we live it.
If we continue to do what we did until now, it's probably going to stay, and we need to do something else.
My name's Hannah Ziad, I'm 24 years old, and I'm an Arabian YouTuber.
My name is Dorit Sadon. I'm 25 years old, and I'm a Jewish Israeli Zionist.
My name is Bara Abdo. I'm from Nablus, 25 years old, studied public relations and communications.
My name is Khaled Zohar. I'm from a small town called Givat Ze'ev, right outside of Jerusalem, and I'm 24 years old.
My name is Arab Aramin. I'm 24 years old, and I'm from Jerusalem.
My name is Ron Bar Shafat. I'm 34 years old, and I work as a deputy director of a think tank that deals with law and economics.
Can I have my Israelis on the left, my Palestinians on the right? The first statement is, someone I know has died because of this conflict.
Okay. My father was murdered by 2 IDF soldiers. It hit us hard, especially for my family. We're only girls. And inside of the Arabic nation, that's really hard.
My friend, when I was 10 years old, the Israeli sniper shot at her in her head. So that was really hard for us.
No, I grew up during the second Intifada. I carry a list with me of all my friends who were murdered in terror attacks. So I have a list of 27 people that were actually very close to me. In Israel, we have a Memorials Day, so I have always a dilemma to which grave to go to.
On 16th of January 2007, an Israeli soldier shot and killed my sister Abir. She was 10 years old, in front of her school, and I was 13. We were 6 kids in the house. After that, we became 2 sisters and 3 brothers.
All of the people that I know have lost someone to the war in some way. And I think grief is such a universal emotion that I want to hug all of you.
I serve in the IDF. I still serve in the Army Reserves, combat. I was very combat in the second Intifada, and I feel your grief, and I understand it, but I have to say that I never got an order to shoot someone. The order was only to shoot if someone is a threat to your life or a threat to someone else's lives.
I also served in the IDF, and they really do just teach us to defend ourselves. If we're not defending ourselves and we do kill someone, we go to jail.
That's not true.
But
That's not true.
I can tell you something. The soldier that killed my sister, he didn't spend 1 day in jail.
Neither did my father. Both of them that murdered him did not stay 1 day in jail.
I believe a 2-state solution is possible.
Okay, I think the Palestinians, they will not stop saying that we want a country. So in the end, if we got to the point that we have our state and they have their state, so no problem.
It's going to be better for us to live all of us together, which is no state like Palestinian, no state like Israeli, only together and having peace together. Like there is no walls and there is no checkpoints, which has happened right now.
I'm with you. One state under Israel's sovereignty and everyone's full equal citizen. All right? Okay, but under Israeli sovereignty, because right now why is that a problem?
Why should it be on one? Why should one religion control it? Why
It's
can't
not
the
a
three?
religion, it's a nationality. It's my nationality.
So if we said one state
one-
with the Palestinian they control it, you can live under it?
No, because
So
because A, it's not your land. B, you mentioned Jerusalem.
you can't tell me that, please. Don't say that.
I'm saying 100%. Palestine used to meant.
I can ask you one question?
Yes.
Please answer it. Your grandfather, you know where he is?
Yes.
Where he is?
So give me how many graves you want me to count?
7 before.
7 before, I know, yes.
Where?
7 before is in Hungary.
In Hungary. 9 before, he's in Palestine. Don't tell me it's not your land.
I'm saying it's not your land.
It's our land. And it will still and will be.
Like, how do you determine this is our land and it's not their land based on what?
History, international law, interest, solidarity.
Yes. How about empathy?
I have empathy. I'm just not willing to give up on my identity and what I believe is mine.
I'm afraid of the other side.
When I say that I'm afraid, what I basically mean is I'm afraid of going into Gaza because I know that if I will go into Gaza, I might get shot, someone might kill me.
I think I hesitated a little bit because I don't think I'm afraid of the people on the other side. I think I'm afraid of the gap and sort of I'm almost equally afraid of that side taking all of the responsibility for what is happening or this side taking all of the responsibility for what is happening, which is obviously not working.
Well, that's fair enough. I don't believe that all Palestinians are terrorists because that doesn't make sense. But I do believe that who is in charge, they're leading the Palestinians to, hating us and in a way that, it is really unfair.
I'm against what you said. They're not the Islam, because Islam didn't say killing people or having blood. Don't belong that
But
to
what
the
about
Islam.
the radical Muslims? The radical Muslims that come and do these things, what do you have to say about them?
They're not part of us. We never accept them as Muslims because they're teaching hate. And in a way, I accepted what you just said about there's a big problem with our governments. They don't know how to talk to each other. And in my idea, I really think the people are the ones that should be talking to each other.
I agree, and I have to say I also don't think there's an issue with Muslims, but I disagree with you about the fact that it's about land. There are several peace talks. They were offered 97% of the land. 98 would have done it. I disagree.
But after deciding with the land, they came and they built more settlements.
What's wrong with Jews living in Judea?
That's not the problem. The problem is that we actually talked about this land being for these people, and in the end, when we see Israelis coming in and actually building houses, that's showing us you guys don't want peace.
I trust my sources of information on the conflict.
I serve in the IDF, so first of all, I trust myself and my officers. I do think that a lot of the information I'm getting is not accurate, which is why I try to compare it with different sources, and I also try to see it from people, what they think, what they feel.
I don't trust everything I see on the news, that's for sure. I do believe, again, there are two sides to every single story. But I do see things that are happening. For instance, things like the rockets that are striking or the stabs that are happening. Those things I do trust because I can see that they're happening and they're just unfair.
Like, I see the narrative being written as like I watch TV. I know how important and how powerful language is and how it can create reality, and like I can see it. I'm like, this is really dangerous. Like on both sides, it's really dangerous.
Overseas media that I see, they're always against Israel for things that are not necessarily our fault.
I find it very funny because we look at it as and start saying that they're really with Israel, which is funny. I find it kind of funny. But no, I seriously do find the information that we're getting has more as an agenda to it from both sides.
I don't believe in social media. Like from the Israeli side, gonna support Israel, and from the Palestinian side, gonna support Palestinians. People gonna be very confused, and I'm gonna be very confused about the reality.
I was going to say, but the question was the sources, so it doesn't have to be just social media and reports like this. Like I also trust the reports that the Israeli security forces publish.
But they are
Don't
gonna
trust
write it in their
everything.
ideas, not about the reality and the situation, but their ideas. How do they see this situation? It's not really what happened.
I want political leaders on my side to make compromises for peace.
If we continue to do what we did until now, it's going to continue as it was now. And I don't see it getting better. Our leaders should have our lives and the best for us in their minds. And so it's not compromising. Like peace is never compromising.
The Palestinian politicians, they in the end, they want a peace for themselves and for their people. But they have no power because the power, it's not in their hands, it's in the other side.
I would like for us to compromise only if you will be able to compromise. It doesn't make sense that every time that we have a war, it's always started by your side. The other day I just heard about, over 1,800 acres of crops have been burnt by, Hamas, who have been sending it over to Israel. Instead of, spending all that money in order to ruin us, why don't they spend it on taking care of Palestine?
Just one second. You're talking about Hamas. You're talking about Gaza. Gaza, it's so far from us. We don't know what's going over there. We don't know. If you can ask me about the West Bank, I'm gonna answer, and I think you as well.
But here's the way I see it when you're talking about compromise. Hamas's charter says murder the Jews wherever they are, and the PA that are hold on. But the PA that are the moderates.
You're going back to Hamas.
So, but the PA, the
We're not
Palestinian
talking
Authority,
about
the
them.
Palestinian Authority that are, let me finish. The Palestinian Authority that are the moderates, they're saying it's a death sentence if you sell your house to a Jew. Are there racist people in Israel? Of course. Are there racist people everywhere in the world? Yes. But we condemn people who are acting violently, and the other side glorifies it.
Violence is sometimes justified.
Oh, I don't know.
If you're going to attack Israel, then Israel is going to defend themselves. And that means when it comes to certain things, maybe not you specifically, but again, to the radical Muslims, we have to. Because if we don't, then there's not going to be a state of Israel anymore.
I don't think it's a matter of Israeli Arabs or Jews, Christians. Sometimes in life you have to use violence. I hope it'll be close to zero as possible. But if I see someone about to murder someone else, I think it's okay for me to use violence to stop that. I think violence is not allowed for a political goal. I think that's a bad place to use violence. I prefer talking and having a discourse.
Okay, I didn't grow up with a lot of violence, with zero violence. But what I went to say, the same as you said, who comes to my house to break the door to take my father, of course I will defend for myself. So it's called a violence. But I want to defend for myself.
First of all, I am against violence 100%. It's a freaking circle that's going to keep on happening over and over again.
For me, if you're gonna react for the violence with violence, so here we go. We're having like the same problems, the same generation who's raised with hatred and violence and love blood, which is not acceptable.
Having a homeland for my people is important to me.
I think that Israel needs to be our homeland because if we won't have a homeland, no one else is going to accept us anywhere else, especially because there's a lot of racism and anti-Semitism as well. So if we're not going to be here, where are we going to go?
Okay, for me as a Muslim, the Holy Land, Why it's so important? First of all, because I was born here. I have no place, another place.
Every single person around the world have the right to live in the place that they were born in. And that the right for Palestinians, also for, if we're gonna talk about refugees also, they have the right to come back here to their lands, to their homes, and have their places.
The fact that we came back to our homeland and that we do have a country and a government here, for me, like, it does feel like a miracle. But I also think that the fact that we do have the power now gives us more responsibility, and that we can't just base it on the fact that it's our homeland and not hear other voices saying we feel the same about the same place.
I often question my place in this conflict.
All the time I'm questioning if it's more dialogue, more force, more conversations, more social media. I always ask myself what is the best thing. I tend to believe that the best thing is human interaction.
A lot of times I take a step back from like the political argument about the conflict and all of that, just because I feel like unworthy and that I don't know enough.
So in my way, I've always known what I am in this conflict. I always knew I wanted to fight for peace. That's all I knew, and that's all I will ever know. I never was in the idea of this conflict until my father passed away, and then I had to think for myself.
I always was asking my father why I was born, and his answer, not to kill, to live, to be in life. And when my sister, she got killed, I went back to him to tell him, you told me I was born to live, not to kill, but my sister, she was born to die. The Palestinians, they didn't kill 6 million Israelis, and the Israelis still, they didn't kill 6 million Palestinians. There is a Germanian embassy in Tel Aviv, and there is a Israeli embassy in Germany. So it's a big hope. It always gives me a hope when I'm looking at this and thinking a little bit about this.
I gotta say, I think it's nice slogans. I don't think that's the case. Israel has a peace treaty with Egypt because Egypt was willing to have peace with Israel. Israel has a peace treaty with Jordan because the Jordanians were willing to have a peace treaty with Israel.
Also, from one to one, it's different. How the way you're thinking about it.
I agree, which is exactly why I don't believe in a peace between the two sides, because in my understanding of reality, the whole concept of Palestinian nationality...
Because you don't accept Palestinians.
I accept human beings. I'm saying that the whole concept of Palestinian nationality is one goal, and that is the annihilation of Israel. When Jordan took over Judea and Samaria, when Egypt took over Gaza, no one asked for a Palestinian
But you're combining
nationality.
you're combining everyone into one ideology, which is not right.
Why? What do you mean?
You're saying because they're saying that they're Palestinian, this is what they want, which is not true.
I agree. I take it back. The Palestinian government, the Palestinian Authority.
There.
Okay, I'm not saying the
understand
Palestinian people. I agree. It's different. I'm going to say, okay, well, I don't refer to the Arabs of Judea and Samaria as Palestinians. I refer to them as Arabs of Judea and Samaria.
If we were going to live long age or long years, we're going to see. We're going to see each other.
Great. You're
And
welcome.
we're
Welcome to come live with us.
we're going to have it.
Palestinians, you can have it.
No, I'm talking about peace. We're going to have it here.